Tonight on Foreign Correspondent, get Anwar.
Quote unquote, we want to get rid of Anwar. Quote unquote. Anwar is an enemy of Malaysia.
For the first time, the inside story on an elaborate conspiracy.
So they began to ask Munawar to simulate anal sex, to lie on the floor in front of police officers, special branch officers who were sitting there like the Gestapo out of the Hitler regime.
The payoffs, the intimidation, and the orders from head office.
Prime Minister told him Anwar is not fit to be the Prime Minister and he is zero about finance. And your duty is to organize a conspiracy how to stop Anwar from being the Prime Minister.
The cynical campaign to crush Malaysia's rising political star.
So I think a lot of people feared Anwar. They had to get rid of him.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Byrne and welcome to this special edition of Foreign Correspondent. Malaysia's Sungai Buloh prison outside Kuala Lumpur isn't the most squalid jail in Southeast Asia, but it is tough, Spartan and stiflingly uncomfortable. In a drug-tough, crime-tough Muslim country, necessity turned this remand centre into a crowded maximum security facility full of traffickers, junkies, murderers and rapists. And in a solitary corner, the man who was surely to be Malaysia's next Prime Minister. In Sungai Buloh's hospital wing, in a strict confinement cell 4 metres by 3, Anwar Ibrahim meditates and reads the books brought each week by his lawyers. Along with the Islamic texts, his favourite works are by Tolstoy and Shakespeare, where he's sure to find irony in spades. Great literary parallels with his own sorry lot, a promising, vibrant leader in the making, brought down by foul conspiracy. Anwar Ibrahim's no stranger to prison, nor his nation's infamous Internal Security Act. His firebrand activism earned him a 20-month stretch in the early 70s for leading anti-government protests. This time, though, it's 15 years, and not for political protest, but for sex crime and corruption. Once again, the Internal Security Act was invoked to deal with Anwar, but more sinister still, enough dirty tricks to shame-face Machiavelli. The world condemned the trial and jailing of Anwar Ibrahim. US Vice President Al Gore called it a mockery of justice. Australia was critical. Even Singapore tough guy Lee Kuan Yew called it an unmitigated disaster. Tonight, following our own detailed investigation in Malaysia, we bring new light to the orchestrated campaign to crush Anwar. In our feature-length report, intimidated witnesses speak out about forced confessions and payoffs, and insiders reveal the architects of the Anwar fit, reaching very high indeed in the Malaysia of Mahathir Mohamad. From Kuala Lumpur, Evan Williams and the calculated destruction of Anwar Ibrahim.
2 years ago, when Anwar Ibrahim was sacked as Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister, tens of thousands of supporters took to the streets in angry protest, demanding political reform.
We are here demanding for justice. We want rule of law. We are against law of the jungle. We are against dictatorship. We are against the few who aim as well for themselves. We want Mahathir to resign. Resign.
But the display of support didn't stop Anwar from being arrested, beaten, and eventually jailed by a court on spurious allegations, fueled by an aging leader apparently terrified of Anwar's rise. This story has all the ingredients of a great drama: sex, violence, intrigue, treachery and deceit. But unlike a drama, this is the true story of one man's obsession with retaining power and the devastating methods he's used to do it. At 74, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has much to be proud of. As Asia's longest-serving leader, he's overseen Malaysia's remarkable transition from impoverished backwater to one of the region's tiger economies. He's done it by enforcing his vision through just about every institution of government. And at this year's National Day celebrations, there was a strong sense he was showing he's still in control. So, in a parade that was only 500 metres long, especially designed for television, Mahathir's combined forces took pride of place. And helped out by hurrying along any stragglers. There, among the usual floats of pretty girls, were the corporate symbols of Mahathir's economic success. But the growth has not been without controversy. Like Indonesia's Suharto, when handing out projects and tenders, some members of Mahathir's cabinet favoured friends and family, who in turn financially supported the ruling party. It's a cosy system of cronyism.
I think he knows very well that the predicament of Suharto is very much the same as him. You know, they might just differ in terms of degree, in terms of, you know, the amount and so forth. But I think the modus operandi, enriching the children's, the cronyism and nepotism is very much here in the country.
So when the disgraced Suharto fell in May 1998, so too did Mahathir's feeling of impregnability.
The next day, when Anwar entered the office of Prime Minister, which is a routine to him.
The day after Suharto's...
Yeah, the day after Suharto had gone. He entered the office of the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister asked for him to pledge for loyalty.
For almost 2 decades, Mahathir and Anwar were a formidable team. Mahathir, the veteran manipulator of Malay politics and authoritarian Asian values. Anwar, the well-credentialed Islamic moderate who engaged the West with talk of greater transparency and softened Mahathir's image.
The beauty in the system is that Dr. Mahathir normally gives general policy direction, and I have to implement by giving more specific announcements or ensuring that specific measures are in place. So I don't think there is any contradiction.
It's a difficult position for you, isn't it? A dangerous one too, perhaps.
Complementary position, I should say, to complement.
Handpicked by Mahathir as his heir apparent, Anwar was ready to wait for the top job that was his without challenge.
I knew for the fact that they had a very warm relationship between Anwar and Mahathir, just like a son with a father. And I must say this, that virtually every morning Anwar will spend at least half an hour to an hour with Mahathir in his office, if Mahathir is in KL, just to talk to him, to discuss some of the important issues before they discuss in the cabinet.
But when the currency crisis hit Asia in 1990,